Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Maradona in the 5-minute pool on ICC. Alright, so I've had a few technical difficulties today. Earlier, I played a match against Grandmaster Daniil Dubov, and that went fine. And then after that, I decided to play some games on ICC, and I recorded them, of course. But my recording software didn't pick up any of the audio, and I played 3 games. So 3 videos that were about 20 minutes in length each, and none of the audio was picked up on any of them, as I discovered after the fact. So that was very annoying, and I got a little bit frustrated with my recording software. So I had to reboot everything. I'm trying again. Everything appears to be working now, but that cost a lot of time. I'm still going to try to get in 3 games today. One of the games that I played was particularly interesting because I'm pretty sure the player cheated. Actually, I'm quite certain, like 99% sure. And it would have been interesting for you guys to see. I also played Grandmaster Eric Lobron in one game, Yardbird, the famous Yardbird, and I lost. Hence, you see my rating is a bit lower. But yeah, I'm bummed that those recordings were lost because there was some good stuff. So A3 has been played. I'm actually playing a system that is kind of newer with E5, and I think I should probably play H6 just to rule out any business with Knight G5 or Knight H4, or not necessarily Knight H4, but definitely Knight G5. Actually, I think H6 was more accurate than Queen E7, so I'm trying to regain my bearings here. Let's, in fact, play E4 and attack this knight. And if Knight G5, I'm going to play Knight B6 and attack the bishop and try to get my bishop to F5 to guard this pawn. So this is the plan. I recognize Maradona's name from Christoph's videos. I think Christoph has played this particular opponent quite frequently. So here, probably rook A E8 to guard the E4 pawn. Just checking to make sure those simplifications do not hurt us. I think we're fine. Yeah, because if there's a bunch of trades on E4, white gains the open F file, but F7 will be guarded by my rook. So that's why I chose this rook instead of the other rook. Rook A E8 rather than rook F E8. And let's see what Maradona comes up with. If they close the position with F4, then I could play H6. And this knight is looking stranded on G5. I guess technically they could play knight F3 in that case, but somehow I don't think they're going to do that. Ah, this move I did not see. That is clever. So bringing the bishop back to help out in the attack on E4. Yeah, I didn't see that one. So now, if I move this knight, I would be attacking their knight, but they're going to get E4. So maybe they just outright win E4 in this position. If bishop G6, then probably that knight takes. I might get some compensation, but pretty much just looks like a pawn, doesn't it? Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to attempt to set up a battery with my queen. So like queen C7 or queen D6 potentially. We'll try to treat it like that. And they take that way. All right, so let's put the bishop back here. So now H6 could be a threat. Therefore, I think Maradona wants to move their queen, and they do. Knight G4, maybe? Because if H6, I think they're going to play E5, is their contention. Maybe that's okay. So Knight G4 attacks the queen, and also I can get ready for queen takes G5. I'm a little uneasy about this, though. There's also H6, E5, take. They take F6 then. Queen takes, takes, rook takes at the end. That doesn't look good. Okay, I'm going to try this move. We'll hope for the best. Strange position, but I'm down a pawn, so therefore I have something to prove. Queen H4 is played. Bishop H2 doesn't get me anywhere. I could play knight H2, but somehow my knight seems stranded. But maybe I can go knight 8, pawn h6 then. Yeah, because if this rook moves, so let's say rook f2, h6, and if knight f3 I can take, and... but they're going to move it to that square. Interesting. And just give up the exchange. But still, I can take. Right? Take. Pawn takes. I have h6. Let's hurry now. We're down on time. So this knight is probably just stranded. But h6 appears to be working right now. Gotta play it. Okay, so he's going to give that up. What's the material balance going to be like here? It's an interesting one. So yeah, it's completely equal right now, material-wise. Should I keep queens on board? I could play queen d6, attacking this pawn. And then if bishop e3, I suppose knight c4. Seems safer to trade the queens. Yeah, let's swap these queens. And then rook d8, there's bishop e3, knight c4. I think I should play knight c4 straight away. I'm way down on time, so let's hurry. b3, knight d6, e5 perhaps? Okay, we're going to have to go for it. And hope for the best. e5, bishop takes b1, I'm thinking, is the way to go. Yeah, let's do that. You can take d6. If rook takes, then I get knight f5, and I'm hitting this pawn at least. Okay, so let's bring this back. Probably the bishop's going to come to f4. And, all right, let's do this. Maybe they get d5 in. I'm not sure I should have allowed that. I want to neutralize that pawn, but it's not going to be easy to do so. Knight c7, maybe? I have to go rook g6. Ugh, gross. h4 could almost trap that rook, couldn't it? It's running out of squares. g5 after that? This is clearly bad. Okay, let's bring this back at least to defend against d7 threats. Yeah, h4 is really pesky. I'm going to try to give up my rook, sacrifice the exchange, but I don't know. This is looking bad. Okay, let's do this. If h5, I got to give up the exchange again. Time to see the Finn scrambling skills, guys. Okay, I guess I'll go here. Rook was under attack. Got a sack now. Okay, let's try to get our king closer. Don't think this is going to help much. But you never know. He can just waltz up with his king. I guess I'll take this pawn. Why not? Trade? He's going to go after that pawn. Yeah, this looks losing. Maybe we have some very slim chances of holding this, but I doubt it. Not sure why I put a pawn on a light square. Probably very foolish. Okay, now he's just going to promote. Yeah, I can probably resign this anytime. All right, let's resign. Yeah, so Maradona got us that game. I think this pressure on e4 was in white's favor. After bishop b8 takes, it never really looked that good for me. Although it must be said, like, tactically speaking, knight h2, rook f4 might not have been in white's best interest. This ending's kind of unclear. I'm not sure who's better. I clearly misplaced my rook, though. That was bad. playing rook e6 and then later having to go over to g6. That was pretty bad for us. You know what I should have played? I was talking and I think I forgot to do this, is after e5, h3, the best move is h6. I just automatically played queen e7, but in fact, black should be more flexible with the queen, and I think sending it to c7 in the future is often played in this line. So let's go back and take a look. So this line with e3, this usually indicates that white does not want to allow a Slav. That's the way they play when they're hesitant to allow a Slav defense, because I've shown in a previous video that bishop f5 can be played, but in that case, black has to be willing to go into this and sacrifice the b pawn. I had that game against Ronaldo Vera where I did that. So I just played e6 and we got into a Semi-Slav, which I haven't played for a while. And white played the Anti-Meran Variation, queen c2, bishop d6, bishop e2, castle, castle, take, take. So most of the time black plays b5 here, but I know that this system with e5 has been tried in recent years, so I just decided to do that to make it kind of interesting, a little bit out of the box, outside the box. Yeah, and h6 should be played here. That's one thing I do remember now about this, is that virtually any time white plays h3, black should react with h6. So instead I played queen e7, white played a3, and I played for e4. Perhaps this was premature, but I don't want to move this knight now because they could potentially take on e5. So I thought it was a good time to play e4. But the proof is whether I can actually defend this pawn, because as played, it didn't look like I succeeded in proving I could. Here, note that white cannot take, because after takes, knight takes, I take here. And if they take here, then they would lose the knight on e4. And if knight takes d6, I can come back and save my knight. So tactically, that doesn't work for white. But they played bishop a2, bishop f5, now f3. And this looked fairly forcing, didn't it? Rook a e8, and now bishop back to b1. Maybe the engine will demonstrate that I could do that, but here, knight bd5 is possible. Doesn't that take away a defender of e4, though? Yeah, knight g takes e4, and white is clearly better. I don't know about that. So what about the game continuation? Rook a e8. The engine says take. Well, I would have just taken here, so bishop takes. Did I miss something? Ah, that must be it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that. That the bishop is attacking f7 along with the knight and the rook. That's important. So if white were to have taken on e4 here, I have to take with the bishop. I might have been under the impression that I could take with the knight, but clearly that would hang this. Although there is knight takes g5 then. But that would still be bad, I guess. Knight takes f7. Rook takes and then take here, and my rook is pinned. Yeah, that's not looking good. Yeah, so f takes e4 was the way forward for white. And if I take here, I just get in massive trouble. Takes with the c knight to leave this, attacking f7. Yeah, and then white's crashing through, taking some way on f7. As played, bishop b1, and now white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers on e4, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders, and I can't get another defender. There's no piece I can use to do that. The engine wants to go here, knight bd5. So if pawn takes, now bishop g6, and we're keeping a pin on the pawn and trying to eliminate the knight on c3, so eliminating one of the defenders. Interesting. That might just work. What if after knight bd5, white takes with the knight? Let's say they take this way. Then take, knight takes, bishop b8. Okay, so that's similar to what I tried to do in the game. And then maybe get the queen over here and try to set up a threat on h2. Yeah, that's a possible way of playing. It's sharp now. It's tricky. I mean, I might have a way to either defend the pawn or give up the pawn in a way that allows me to attack white's king, but not a simple thing to figure out. And I didn't manage to do it in the game. I spent some time here and eventually played bishop b8, which might be all right, but knight bd5 looks much better. Yep, now bishop g6. So my plan with that is to just keep the pin here and try for h6. But it seemed like white got out of that. And here I tried knight g4. Okay, so knight h5 is better. Didn't look at that move at all. Attacking the knight. Yeah, and if knight f3, I would assume knight g3 attacking the rook and also hitting this pawn once again. And I will successfully recover the pawn after the rook moves. Yeah, knight h5 looks like a good move. And then what if queen h4? Maybe there's bishop g3 ideas. h6 is also good. Knight f3, and again knight g3. Right, so same operation. Yeah, sharp position. As played, I thought white might just take here. And then after queen takes g5, like do something like this and try to defend both pawns. And black has some compensation. I mean, white's king has been weakened. They have to watch out on the dark squares, but it seems white is better. Instead, white played this, and now these tactics began, because if they make some move like rook f2, then h6 is strong. Again, because of this knight f3, knight takes f3 check idea, and I will take white's queen on the next move. So I don't believe white can do that. Instead, they played rook f4, and I took, which was a mistake. So I should do this first? Wait, why does that work? So if knight f3 here... Huh. Knight f3, knight takes f3 check. They have to take with the pawn in that case. And then maybe I take on f4? Or is there something different? Knight f3... No, probably knight takes f3. Let's see. Here, bishop takes f4. Or knight takes f3. Yep, g takes, because again, the rook has to stay guarding the queen. So g takes f3, bishop takes f4, and this is a little bit different than the game. Queen takes f4, different type of pawn formation for one thing. And here I'm up a pawn, or up a point of material, rather than it being equal. Huh. Very interesting. So bishop takes f4 was a mistake, it appears. Yeah, that's right, because in the game, he ended up winning the pawn that went to g5. Whereas in that line, white does not win the pawn that comes to g5. So if h6 is played here, yeah, white would have to move their knight. The engine wants to do this, interestingly. Although I guess that wins a pawn back. Take, rook takes. This is a weird position. Here, black is up a piece for a couple pawns. Bishop a2. Okay, but I get pinned. Yeah, this is really complex. We would both need a lot more time to truly figure out what's going on here. So h6 appears to be best. As played, I did this. But they wind up getting that pawn because I had to sacrifice a pawn back to win their knight. Still, the engine likes black even here. I played knight c4. I was debating that in rook d8. But you know, I wasn't sure after bishop e3, knight c4, bishop f2, take. Oh, I think I just thought the rook could come to b1 in this case. I think I hallucinated because I looked at this line. Rook d8, bishop e3, knight c4, and then take b2. And I think I somehow assumed white's rook would come to b1 and I would lose the b7 pawn. I don't know. That's strange. Yeah, because knight c4, all that accomplished was my knight just got kicked around. He went e5. This happened. Knight f5 is an alternative here, by the way. Probably I should play that move. That might be slightly better. I didn't think white's d-pawn would be dangerous, but it turned out to be. Yeah, now the clock was the big problem. I was down a lot of time. Bishop f4. This was a mistake, allowing d5. Yep, and now I'm a lot worse. Knight e7 is the threat. So coming in and checking and forking the king and the bishop. Knight c7, good move by white. My rook doesn't have any good squares here, so I had to go over to g6. They threw this in, and I think after h4 I'm in big trouble because h5 is threatened and my rook looks to be lost. I tried to set up a counter sacrifice here on d6, but white patiently played rook d1, just defending, and yeah, I'm almost certainly busted here. Eventually they played h5 and kept their knight instead of the bishop. Had they taken with the knight on g5, then I might have cause for a bit of optimism because it is opposite color bishops. I'm probably still losing even here. I'm down 2 pawns, but at least it's opposite color bishops. As played, absolutely no chance, especially with the time. White patiently, once again, brought up their king. Winning the g2 pawn scarcely matters. Just no counterplay for me. Now 2 pass pawns for white. Eventual win. So nicely converted by Maradona down the stretch. I think the key moment was probably my whole decision to play e4. From there, a skirmish developed where I was trying to defend e4 and white was trying to throw everything at it with f3 and bishop b1. And there were some tactics here that neither of us fully appreciated. Like white could have taken on e4 with the pawn, opening up the attack on the bishop, and f7 becomes weak at the end. I miscalculated that line. Also, yeah, right here. So knight h5 would have been a lot stronger than knight g4. But even as played, it looks like I had my fair share of chances, just didn't play it in the best way. Playing knight c4 instead of rook d8 really cost me here. I think this is where the game starts to take a turn for the worse for me. Intriguing game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll be back again soon with another video. Talk to you guys later. Bye.